Part 56. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 551. That is. It's strange. At the two designated areas in the morning, I didn't see Oreki Houtarou's shadow. The third-year student who had the same schedule as Oreki-senpai suddenly said this. Today, because I was right around the second designated area, I was the first one to arrive, the student said. But until the top 3 prizes in the group were claimed, Houtarou Oreki didn't arrive either. Does that mean he didn't come? Nanyun frowned. Students responded and Oreki appeared at the supply base, Dan Kiriyama said. The student guard in my group changed. I found out when I went back to change. I saw Oreki and the president looking at the stars together. Looking at the stars? Really interested. That means being with Sakayanagi Yuzu. This couple, Nanyun said. Sakayanagi-san is cute and adorable, and has a delicate body, making him very popular. But he and Oreki are already a couple. Although Nanyun has never been in love, he also knows that people of the opposite sex who have a good relationship want to stay together all the time. So Oreki Houtarou may have been confused by Sakayanagi. His physical fitness is so strong that even touching a fish is no problem, Nanyun said. And I have a girlfriend on the island with me. It's normal for me to choose to stay with my girlfriend for a while. At the same time, I probably noticed you guys staring at him all day yesterday. That kid is very naughty, Nanyun said so. So he asked the third grader who was staring at Oreki to slow down his pursuit of Oreki. On the 4th day, they were arranged to continue guarding Oreki. Then. Beep. The base of your score account will be moved by 1 point. Because the first 3 groups have already arrived, subsequent arriving groups will not score points. In the random area on the 4th day, 2 students who arrived at the designated area picked up their tablets to get points. Teacher, can you tell us the names of the students in the first 3 groups, said a third grader. Although the teacher in this designated area is not the head teacher, he is the classroom teacher, so he is familiar. At 8 o'clock in the evening on the 6th day, you can use material points to unlock the tablet and check the score, the teacher said. So it's useless for you to ask me. That is, teachers cannot provide more information. In fact, he was also confused because he was assigned here temporarily. It seems that the head teachers of the 3 classes in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grades have temporarily given up their responsibilities, so they have to arrange for others to take over their work. Because it was the first time he was responsible for such work, the teacher seemed to be inexperienced. This situation was reported to Nanyun. It's a little strange, Nanyunya finally reacted. Kiriyama, please go back to the D6 material base tomorrow and see if something happened to Houtarou Oreki. Don't forget that our total of 18 free ride and additional prop cards are all betting on him. I understand Kiriyama didn't doubt anything else, because he also had an item hitchhiking card, so he was betting on Oreki's junior as well. If there is a problem with Oreki-senpai's ranking here, then it is not just the problem with the points obtained from the ride card in his hand, but, Nagamo's side has to cash in the 10 million points given to him to solve the problem. And he has betrayed the class. Although he has not been bullied because of his status as vice president, he may not be easy. So this is also related to his future. In this way, for my Kiriyama-senpai, I personally went to the D6 area of the material stronghold and guarded it. Then the reply I got that night was that Oreki Houtarou was indeed found at the material stronghold in area D6. Oreki-san is having a barbecue with the students of Class C. And Oreki-san didn't leave from afternoon to evening. In other words, I missed the afternoon basic movement and all the topics of the day. In other words, Oreki Houtarou is not trying to fish, but, he is humming messed up. No more exams. It's day 5. Today seems to be different. A third-year student also reported this. Oreki-senpai left the supply base D6 and went to the designated area. But it's not his itinerary. What he's going to is President Banlieu's itinerary. Listening to the report from his subordinates, Nanyun frowned. Yesterday's topic has been released. Hashimoto of Sakayanaga's group must have received the reward for forming the large group, Nagamo said. And once a large group is formed, the values will be equally divided. This is not a good thing. That's right, the third grader said. Because of Oreki's troubles in the past 2 days, Nagamo also arranged for someone to follow the members of Itanyanaga's team. It was confirmed that Hashimoto-senpai had received the reward for forming a large group that had just been released. Therefore, there is no problem with Nagamo's current speculation. Because it's possible that President Sakayanagi and Oreki Houtarou formed a team. But President Banlieu and her team got the basic 1 point and the first group bonus 10 points. And Oreki Houtarou didn't get any points. But he sent Sakayanagi back to supply point D6. Grass. Naun and Kiriyama fully reacted. Oreki Houtarou really doesn't plan to continue taking the exam. But on the morning of the 6th day, someone saw him appear again, and he swiped the designated area once. Got 11 points. This situation looks really weird. Therefore, on the 6th day, at 8 p.m., all students' tablets will be able to use material points to view scores and GPS to locate students. As for the price, each use is 10 material points. Simultaneous duration is 1 minute. Naun directly picked up his tablet. Do you want to use 10 material points to check the score? Of course. Nagamo's score is 199 points. Probably at number 11. Then only the scores of the 10 students in front of him and the 10 students behind him will be displayed. This is somewhat limiting, but not a big problem. Only the top 10, first-year students, second-year students, and then, the first place is Kojinjiro Kusuke. There is no sign of Oreki's surname at all, and there is no trace of Oreki Houtarou among the 12-21 students. At this time, the score of the 21st student has reached 99 points. Nanyun and Kiriyama are in the same group, and Kiriyama's score is 106 points. Ranked 23rd, and he could see 10 students behind him. Not only is there no Oreki Houtarou's name, but the score of the 33rd student has become 63 points. Do you think there might be something wrong with the tablet? When checking the results for the first time, Nagaun looked at Kiriyama and asked. It should be impossible. Kiriyama said uncertainly. Because he also searched for the first time. In the first time, whether it was the top 10 or the bottom 10, Oreki Houtarou's name could not be found. Then check again, Nanyun said. Kiriyama nodded. Today, the function of querying scores is unlocked. As long as you pay 10 material points, you can query it countless times. It looks more favorable. But to stay on this island for a full 2 weeks, we still need supplies, so we can only save flowers. But both Nagamoya and Kiriyama inquired twice in a row. The results are the same. In the scoring rankings 1-33, there is no sign of Houtarou Oreki. Do you use GPS positioning? This search will cost 10 material points. Nagamo continued to operate the tablet. Then I discovered Oreki-senpai's figure. He was in the D6 area. And that is the supplies area, Oreki Houtarou. In Nanyun, I brought a tablet from a 3rd grade student with a low ranking. Then he confirmed Oreki-senpai's score. Oreki Houtarou, ranked 102nd, scored 11 points. It is still the total score of the first place in the single group in the designated area on the morning of the 6th day. Nanyun. Tongshan. In other words, Oreki Houtarou scored 81 points on the first day, but as expected, it was because he was super bad, and then he was deducted because of his constant absence of basic movements, so his score has dropped to the bottom and cannot be found. But the current number 1 is indeed Kojinjiro Kusuke. The total score is 535 points, which is a very scary score. X2. However, a terrible thought that everything was in vain appeared in their minds. Chapter 254 Unexpected Number 1, Yuanji was deceived. It's 8 o'clock in the evening on the 6th day of the exam on the uninhabited island. At the D6 regional material base, the students staying here had dinner. As before, in the D6 area, in addition to the school, there are also Shiina students from Class C, and Sakayanagi who is not feeling well, so he can only stay here at the supply point. I ate too much barbecue in the past 2 days, so I started to switch to normal meals. The staff member on duty at the school's base is Class D's Mr. Chibashira. Perhaps she noticed that the students' cooking was a bit poor, so the female teacher helped. Although she was single, Teacher Chibashira's cooking was surprisingly good. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 552. And Shiina-san helped out. Unexpectedly, Shiina-san had such an advantage, and Oreki-san just had to wait and eat. However, what needs to be noted is that the transaction content that Oreki-san asked Ryuan for was materials that he could sell at will, and he has indeed sold some of them so far. But members of the student union can use it for free. It was now the 6th day. Only Sakura and Hospi, the members of the student council, came back to replenish supplies. The other students were basically still on the island. They all seemed to be working hard. Perhaps because he felt it was impolite, Oreki-san, who had been sitting and waiting, also started to help. If his sister is not at home, he lives alone. So in fact, cooking skills can still be guaranteed. Does this mean that Mr. Chibashira will resign after teaching this term? Hiri-san got some information from Chibashira-sensei. As a student in Class C, although she has no expectations to advance to A, she will also pay attention to the nearby classes. Teacher Hoshinomiya gave her the feeling that she was not easy to get in touch with, and Teacher Chibashira, who had always had a cold face, actually helped with cooking. This fact made her have a good impression of this female teacher. As a result, I learned this information. Chibashira-sensei is resigning. I used to be a student of this school, and I regret that I failed to get promoted. But now it's time to move on from the past. My cooking skills are pretty good. I used to hope that I could become an excellent chef in the future. Although it's a little late now, I want to pursue my own life, Sae Chibashira said. In other words, is Chibashira-sensei actually obsessed with his past failure in getting promoted? And isn't this terrible? Hiri-san suddenly felt that it was a very good choice for him to give up the promotion and choose to get money instead. Otherwise, what should I do if I always regret it? And Chibashira-sensei, you are very fierce. Because I usually get obsessed with failure in promotion, it seems that it is not a simple D to C or C to B. It must be that I failed to be promoted to Class A, which means I was very close to Class A in the past. Oreki. Because on the first day on the island, he met Chibashira's best friend Hoshinomiya, and then learned about their past, although it was not sure how credible Hoshinomiya's words were. But refer to the similarity between Hoshinomiya and Kushida. This Chibashira teacher is also very similar to Horikita. So is the relationship between Kushida Mirai and Horikita like that actually a special obsession? Just this time. That's amazing, said the girl with straight silver hair who put down the walkie-talkie. There is a white tablet placed over her small table. Banliu directly uses the points to start the query. It's 8 o'clock, and then score inquiries and GPS positioning are opened. Then, of course, what Xiao Banliu was looking at was not his own score. When querying, I found that I could only query the scores of my top 10 and bottom 10 students. And her score was low. That's why I used the walkie-talkie to contact Katsuragi-san's group. Katsuragi-san's team got 9th place. It's quite satisfactory, but you can check the score of Juyuan Temple. So I reported the scores of the 6 assistants of Juyuanji Temple. 535 points. A score of 535 is equivalent to getting 3 full marks in basic mobility on the first day, and then getting 9 second places and 1 first place in 10 topics, because Oreki-san did not participate in the subsequent 5-day exam. So the points obtained by Juyuan Temple from the 2nd day to the 6th day today are all full. 94 points every day. In other words, the score composition of Juyuan Temple is actually 65 add 94 x 5 equal 535 points. A terrible score indeed. That's really reassuring. Shiina-san, who was still talking to Mr. Chibashira, felt relieved when he heard Itaiji-san's voice. She asked Ryuan to control the first-year bets on Rokusuk Kojinji. In other words, everything went as expected. After deducting the 10 million borrowed from Oreki-san and the 50% promised to Oreki-san, she and Ryuan also shared 55%, which seemed to have been divided several times. But as long as Juyuanji wins first place, then she who follows the bet can also get 30 x 2.12 million minus 1000 x 0.5 x 0.5 equal 13.4 million. Already tens of millions. 18 years old, still studying, but already has a savings of 10 million. Shiina-san suddenly felt happy cooking. Chibashira. Chibashira looked slightly sideways. From this perspective, it is reasonable for her to leave after teaching this class. Because Class D has no hope at all. Moreover, these children are not the same as they were in the past. Their generation followed the school's instructions and competed with each other in the competitive circle created by the school, but this generation treats the school like a wool brush. From this perspective, this class of students is indeed worth looking forward to. But as the former class teacher of Kojinji classmates, Chibashira felt the need to remind them. Although you bet on Gao Yuanji is a person with a very free personality. So it's not surprising that something suddenly happened in the middle. Chibashira said. Is that so? Oreki-san received an application from Kojinji on his tablet. He clicked agree. Then Oreki-san asked Koitayanaga to click on the GPS positioning. Do you want to check the location of Kojinji Rokusuk? Yes. In addition to monitoring health and calling for help in times of crisis, the bracelets carried by students also have positioning functions. After the tablet deducted 10 material points, the positioning map opened. You will find that the red dot marking Kojinji Rokusuk is flashing. Specifically, it's moving. In other words, as Chibashira-sensei told him, Takahiraji-san is very strong. But he was the number 1 person in terms of surprise, and he was very fast, so he rushed to the door directly. Kojinji Rokusuk, in last year's uninhabited island exam, collaborated with Oreki-san and Horikita-san, and shouldered the task of investigating the island overnight. Then we visited more than 30 strongholds on the island in 2 hours. Although the island is now fully open, it takes about 4 hours to completely explore the island. However, his randomly designated area tonight is F5, which is not far from D6. So, 10 minutes later, everyone saw a man wearing a red sportswear and carrying a small bag returning after a long journey. Leave it to you, Kosake said. Yet Oreki-san nodded. Because he knew very well why Juyuanji-san appeared here. This is because you actually fooled me, you kid. You asked me to work hard to score points, but you ended up trying to catch a fish. Takahiraji almost immediately ran in front of Oreki-san when he saw him. You actually only have 11 points. It means you have been fishing like crazy since the end of the first day. Apparently, at 8 o'clock in the evening, he also checked the results. But instead of checking my own grades, I was going to check Oreki-san's grades. On the first day, Oreki-san followed him directly and challenged him at the center tower. Moreover, the opponent was also very fierce on the first day, and we directly fought him in the task. Kojinji lost 9-1-1. This is a bit frustrating, but Gao Yuanji thinks this is a challenge. So he continued to fight. But the next day, Oreki-san was not among the subjects that I went to. This is a little strange. Because Oreki-san was so fierce on the first day, it stands to reason that the second and third days would also be very fierce. Is it because the other party doesn't want to get points for the subject? At that time, he was wondering if he was being looked down upon. Or let him go on purpose. Of course, there is another possibility, that is, Oreki-san may be fishing instead of fighting. If it's the latter, that's too much. But Takahiraji didn't want to be imperfect, so he persevered. Because it may also be the opponent's tactics or something. But the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day. Neither Kojinji nor Takajanji encountered Oreki Houtarou in the project. At this time, Yuanji already felt that something was wrong. But he felt like holding on a little longer. Then it's now 8 o'clock in the evening. Students' scores can be queried through material points. Then, you are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 553. He checked and found out that he was ranked first, but among the 10 students behind him, there was no Oreki Houtarou. That is to say, it turned out that Oreki Houtarou was fooling him, tricking him into working hard, and then Oreki Houtarou himself was fishing like crazy. He then used a tablet to conduct invitations to form large groups. After getting each other's consent, the two formed a large group. And this also confirmed the unpleasant results. Form a large group and members' scores will be divided equally. And Yuanji saw his score declining rapidly. So Oreki Houtarou is really fishing. I'm going back to the ship, Gao Yuanji said. In 6 days, I've done my job. The rest is your business. In other words, Yuanji Liashu is going to give up the exam. Then, everything has nothing to do with me. Gao Yuanji came quickly and ran even faster. Generally speaking, even if he abstained, he would have to wait for the faculty and staff stationed at the supply point to notify the boat to come over, and then take the students to the ship, but he didn't need to. Because for him, swimming, no problem. He ran really fast. Watching his back. Oreki-san, why don't you hurry up and bring back Jogenji-san, Hiyori said. Takahiraji is a solo player. Once he abstains, his score will be returned to 0. So, wouldn't it be a bad idea to bet on Yuan Temple? And this news. The same was returned to the ship. Specifically, the staff on the ship discovered Yuan Temple, and actually swam back. Rokusuke Takahiraji from class of the 2nd grade has abstained. He returned to the ship on the pretext of being unwell. Because it is a solo, his points will be reset to 0. This is good news for Principal Yu Cheng. It seems you don't need to stare at me anymore, Principal Yu Cheng said with a smile. This smile looks polite and somewhat elegant. In fact, I am in a good mood. I heard before that the loss would be 150 million. Although you can apply to that gentleman, you will definitely be blamed. And if he were asked to do it personally, he would definitely not be willing to do it. Therefore, now that Yuanji has withdrawn on its own, the points bet on Yuanji do not need to be cashed out. Is it? But teacher Mashima from class of the 2nd grade took a tablet to check the data. But Kojinji doesn't count as a loser. Before he came back from swimming, he teamed up with Houtarou Oreki. The two of them split the score equally. According to the rules of the exam, as long as a team is formed, as long as one student remains, the exam will continue. Day. So doesn't it mean that the pressure was suddenly put on him again? Because, Tsukijo is sure that Oreki-san, as long as he wants to do it, there is no pressure to get first place. But now he is being watched by 3 head teachers. There is no way to get out without using black means. But the Alliance commander Mark Dion went out. Only. Tsukijo hopes that Shimakura will no longer pay attention to Ayanokaji, but if he can intercept Oreki Houtarou and win first place, he can save money. After all, there is no point in intercepting Ayanokaji. That gentleman didn't want to see Ayanokaji really get kicked out of school. So this is more true for Yu Cheng. And the other side. Watching the leaving figure of unexpected number 1 Takahiraji-san. I don't think there's anything to worry about, Oreki-san said. It doesn't get any worse. Do you still remember why I went to Jeyuan Temple? Oreki-san noticed Shiina-san's panic and comforted her. So. Why did Oreki go to Kojinji? Because everyone is betting on Jeyuan Temple. And this was all suggested by Oreki-san. He thinks Kojinji can win. However, it was difficult to persuade Kojinji-san, and it was useless for Akatsuki to use reason and emotion, so Sake Inagi-san entrusted Oreki-san to stabilize Kojinji. And now. We bet on Jeyuanji, because it is best for Jeyuanji's classmates to get the highest score. The other party also has this advantage and ability. I can assist when necessary. So the most energy-saving solution is to let Jeyuanji students get high scores by themselves. Trick him to get the highest score in the shortest time. And with this score, even if he finds out that he has been deceived and doesn't work hard, it will be enough to crush him to the end, Oreki-san said. Chapter 255 Another million, Oreki-san. Jeyuanji's mobility is very strong, and even he only tried his best for 6 days. Then what you get is enough to make it impossible for others to catch up. No one has any objection to this. And Katsuragi, who was entrusted by Sakayanagi, got 9th place with only 203 points. It is now the 6th day, and there are still 8 days of exam time, but survival in the wild requires a lot of action every day, and it becomes more and more difficult as we go on. Since the day before yesterday, students have been returning to the supply point one after another to purchase items, and some people have begun to withdraw. This can be noticed. The difficulty of surviving on an uninhabited island begins to increase. Therefore, according to normal development, it is difficult to say whether the second place will eventually get 400 points. Therefore, it was very effective to deceive Jeyuanji to use all his strength in the beginning. The score of 535 points is very scary. But Kojinji-san has abstained now, Oreki-san said. So it's difficult. It's a bit stressful for me, Oreki-san said. Because he teamed up with me, and it was also because he teamed up with me that he knew I had lied to him. When forming a large group, the scores will be divided equally between the two teams. So this is an opportunity to help the weak, but it is also an opportunity to reduce the advantage on your side. Oreki-san and Kogendera are both solos. Therefore, when you form a team and look at your own score, you can also infer the base score of your teammates. Then, would you like to pay 10 material points to check the score? Yes. Oreki-san used the tablet to click on his own score. Score ranking. 3rd place, Oreki Houtarou, 273 points. Takahiraji, a member of the large group, has abstained. Because the scores of Kojinji-san's students changed, the rankings also changed. Oreki looked at the information about the second and first names on the list. Not an upperclassman. 2nd place Haru Sakurako, Utsunomi Yoriku, 2 passerby NPCs, 274 points, the 2 passerby NPC members of the group have abstained. Number 1 Amasawa Ichika, NPC in the same class, Group member passerby NPC has abstained, 289 points. First year students have the authority to form groups of up to 4 people before the exam starts, but only when they arrive on the island do they discover that they are the most unlucky ones with the human sea tactics. Extra points are awarded because only the entire group of students arrives. So once someone in the group falls behind, they become very passive. But the top-ranked players now are all first-year players, and these two groups of first-year players are also very interesting. All the lagging characters in his team gave up. So what if a member of the group abstains? There is no need for all members of the required group to arrive to receive additional rewards. The first graders found a way forward. But it's not terrible. The scores are very close to each other. Only, it seems that the first-year students have another idea. They fainted them before Oreki-san said suddenly. Others looked over quickly. It's nothing. Oreki-san was actually thinking about Nanae-senpai and the others he met when he was frantically brushing up points on the first day. At that time, Nanae-senpai asked the teacher if the group members could abstain. At that time, I thought Nanae-senpai and Utsunomiya were teaming up with Haru Sakurako. But that's not the case now. In other words, they were deliberately acting like they were in a group. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 554. So what's the purpose? Is it also the same purpose as Hokuan-san? After all, according to the information previously obtained, there were several first-year students who were arranged to drop out of Ayanokaji by Tsukijo. Oreki-san thought about it, but continued to return to the topic. The most energy-saving solution is to let Yuanji take the exam. But Kojinji-san chooses to show off now. Oreki-san curled his lips. So, then I'll just have to work. Although Yuanji abstained from voting, he still tried his best. Team up with Oreki-san. In this way, even if a teammate abstains, he or she will still have a place as a teammate in the end. So as long as Oreki-san can get first place, then in the end Kojinji can also receive the school's rewards as a teammate. And in this way, the bet on riding a ride can be satisfied. This is a happy situation for everyone. That's really reassuring, Shiina-san said as she clapped her hands gently. Because just now I almost thought that the 13 million I was about to acquire was going to jump into the water and swim away, but now, isn't this more reassuring? Because Kojinji-san is uncertainty number one, but now the pressure comes to Oreki-san and others. Oreki-san has never been unreliable at the moment. So this bet is where the real peace of mind comes from. So Oreki-kun will have to go to get his points stable tomorrow. Kamuro-san, I need you to pack the simple luggage Sakayanagi-san ordered. It stands to reason that this is not wrong. In order to confirm the first place, he should also set off. But Oreki, little Princess Sakayanagi, you are not in the right state. Oreki-san felt like he had seen the future. He didn't want to work, but he met Yuzo Sakayanagi, who had already found a company for him, prepared his resume, and arranged for him to work part-time to make money. Are you so short of money, Sakayanagi? Oreki-san thinks whether he should tell Sakayanagi in advance that in addition to the school's private points, he actually also has a certain amount of cash outside the school. Enough to support her aggressive actions. But that part of the money was put together with most of the money for the future and lawyer Horikita's food and clothing. This is another place that cannot be said. The divine room. Although I feel that I am the one who has to do the work in the end, it is not unacceptable. Because, back to this uninhabited island. She recalled her life on the island, when she was taking care of Houtarou Oreki. So now that he doesn't go out, what should he do if he asks her to do the work again? So do you choose to do it or not to do it at this time? Since Italio is here these days, it's a good thing that he doesn't need to help Oreki wash clothes. So, Kamuro-san started taking action. And the other side. Because the distance was too far, by the time Naun and Kiriyama arrived, it was already 35 minutes later. Oreki-san took out his tablet and began to check the situation. His material points haven't moved much, so it's very convenient to check the GPS of various students. After simply checking the information of the people he followed, he began to analyze this exam. The exam is divided into basic movement and topic, where basic movement is similar to a fixed check-in. It's a bit like the 3 times a week he and Kushida-san do. Every day, the school will prompt 4 times on the tablet with designated areas where students need to go to score points. The first 3 times are regular and do not allow students to move a lot, but the 4th time every day is random. Many students are unable to arrive at the scheduled time or are unable to show up on the spot. Then there's the topic. There will be faculty and staff who will appear on topics 5-10 times a day at various locations on the island. Probably in this category. But judging from actual experience, from the first day to the 6th day today, the number of issues that occurred was 10 days. So I'm not sure whether I will continue with 10 topics per day for the next 8-14 days or maybe reduce the number of topics. The number of topics is worth only 5 points even if you get first place. So, what we have to do now is to gain absolute advantage. Distance from subsequent rankings. In this way, there must be no loss in basic movement points. Then participate in all subjects. But according to Oreki-san's foot strength, it won't be too late to set off tomorrow morning. Perhaps considering that Oreki-san might have to take exams seriously on the island and would not be able to come back at any time, Sakayanagi-san proposed an invitation to watch the moon together tonight. It rained in the evening, but now that the rain has stopped, the air is exceptionally fresh, especially in the mountains, which gives people an extremely refreshing feeling. And Oreki-san has been trained. Later, Sakayanagi-san must be admiring the moonlight and telling him how beautiful the moonlight is. This is what Sakayanagi-san has said once. And from Shiana's classmate who likes to read miscellaneous books, I know that this is Natsume Sosuke's confession. In other words, it can be used in a more beautiful confession plan. So, maybe we can try this with Horikita-san in the future. Oreki-san doesn't think Horikita-san would read books on these topics. But, at this time, someone is here. Shiana-san probably loves money very much and has become very well behaved today, so she is polite to the 2 rich men Oreki and Itaiji. She stayed in her material camp. The teacher's camp was basically empty. The students refused to buy materials at twice the price, so they turned to Shiana's side and used IAS to exchange materials. But 2 senior students passed by her. It didn't look like she was going to replenish supplies, so she immediately reported it. Aren't these third-year Nagamo-senpai and Kiriyama-san? Sitting on a clean round stone, Sakayanagi Yuzu spoke first. And her words remained the same. Very offensive. Almost instantly. President. Kiriyama-senpai seemed to hesitate for a moment. He is the vice president of the student union, and Sakayanagi is the president and his boss. In a normal senior-junior relationship, one would call him Kiriyama-senpai, but now he is called Kiriyama-san, which means he uses his position. Oreki Houtarou. But Senior Nagamo didn't care about this. What are you doing? Oh. Oreki-san looked over. Why did you lie to me? Nanyun said. I clearly paid you 11 million to arrange this exam. Why are you still trying to trick me? Oreki-san. Nagayun-senpai, are you sure you want to speak loudly here? Nanyun. Naun took a breath. Force yourself to calm down. Now Oreki and Sakayanagi are not far from the school's supplies department, so his voice can be transmitted there. And there are indeed faculty members on duty now. A female teacher with a black single ponytail seemed to look over dumbly. And what he just said was, he spent money to arrange this exam. Indeed, it's not a place to talk. You come with me, Nanyun said. I don't want it, Oreki-san said. My relationship with Nagamo-senpai is also average. I can't think of a reason to leave just because I asked you. In other words, do you want to accompany Banliu? Then your 11 million IOU is gone, Nanyun said. I can't get any points in this exam, and your points are gone too. That's not right. Upon hearing this, Oreki-san noticed that Sakayanagi-san seemed a little confused. So he stood up and said, what I got is your simple IOU. There is no requirement that you obtain these points in this exam. So, if you really have no money, then you still owe me 11 million, Senior Nagayun. After all, I have already completed what you asked me to do. So the IOU is established, and if there are really no points, then I may collect your assets to supplement it, Junior Oreki said. Oh. Indeed. Naun suddenly realized that what he wrote to Oreki was a simple IOU. What was written to Kiriyama was, if I collected points in this exam, I would transfer 10 million to Kiriyama. The two are different. So if you can't get the points, you still have to lose another 11 million? Then 1 million, Nanyun said. 1 million, I'll buy you 10 minutes, that's it? Hiyori-san. Shiana-san is also not far away, so she can hear the sounds here. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 555. But 1 million. She is responsible for taking care of the supplies here, and 6 days have passed, and the supplies have not yet reached 1 million. As a result, Oreki-san was able to earn 1 million on the spot. What a money-making person. Then, because Senior Nanyun wrote a new IOU of 1 million, plus he had done several business transactions in the past, Oreki-san decided to trust the other person's character. Moreover, selling 1 million for 10 minutes is not the first time he has done this. The last time it was Principal Tsukijo. At that time, he wanted to see what Principal Tsukijo would do, and now Nagamo's appearance was also strange, so he also wanted to see what he wanted to do. In this way, the three of them walked into the forest together and stopped about 500 meters away. What problem did you encounter? Junior Oreki turned around and asked. The last guaranteed student is ready. The last 3 positions will be taken by 3 solo students from first year Class D, then there will be another solo student from first year Class D, and Sakura's solo from second year Class D will be responsible for the 4th from the bottom and the 3rd place. 5. As for the target of the ride-along bet, I also told you, choose Kojinji Temple, Oreki-san said. This is it, Nanyun seemed to be excited all of a sudden. Right here. Is it? Jyuan Temple. Before 20 minutes, Takaharaji-san abstained. And is Nanyun's information so fast? About the issue of Jyuan Temple. Oreki-san was about to explain. But he found that Kiriyama-senpai was the first to say, Nanyun was betting on your name. It was not the name of Kojinji. And you were not even in the top 30, so you suffered a big loss. Hearing this statement, Oreki-senpai looked over in surprise. Chapter 256. I once wanted to open a milk tea shop, but I ended up doing it this way. He had obviously told Nagamo that the person he could bet on was Rokusuke Kojinji, but in the end, the person Nanyun chose was him. And this result will occur. So Oreki-senpai looked at Nagamo in surprise. Nagayun-senpai, have I ever lied to you? Nanyun. It seems not. Then why are you betting on my name? You don't believe the information I gave you, Junior Oreki said. If you don't believe it, then why did you write an IOU worth 11 million? Even Oreki's junior classmate seemed surprised by this. Nanyun. Senior Nagamo's thinking seemed to have stopped for a moment. So, why? He wanted to know too. I just wanted to take a chance, but the result, I checked the score of Kojinji before I came here to confront Houtarou Oreki. 535. That terrifying value. As for Oreki Houtarou, he didn't even score 60 points. This is outrageous, but if we bet on Kojinjiro Kusuke according to what Oreki Houtarou said at the beginning, then where would such a thing happen? Damn it! So was he actually the one who tricked him? Senior Nanyun was silent for a moment. So is there any remedy plan? Senior Kiriyama interjected at this time. This is not in line with his character. As long as Nagamo is around, he will probably be Nagamo's follower. But now I am so proactive, which means it is related to his own interests. For example, Oreki-senpai, if you work hard and get first place or something like that. As long as you win, then we don't have to lose. Kiriyama-senpai put forward his own opinion. Oreki. That means you bet on me without authorization and then hope that I will finish in the top 3. It's not the top 3, but I hope you can get the first place, Senior Kiriyama said. And this is my life's request. A lifetime request. But the relationship between Oreki-san and Kiriyama-senpai is very ordinary. Rather, Kiriyama-senpai is an old subordinate of his brother-in-law, and then a subordinate of his Sakae-anaga-san. Then it has nothing to do with him. So you can choose to ignore Kiriyama's request. But Kiriyama-senpai, what benefits did Nagamo-senpai promise you? Oreki-san asked. If I tell you, will you work hard? Kiriyama said. No, Oreki-san said. This topic can no longer proceed. However, Kiriyama didn't want it to end like this. He used to be a student of Class A, but why he fell into Class B was not a matter of other reasons. One was that Nagamo was too strong, and he was too good at buying people's hearts with kindness and power. Kiriyama didn't think he could defeat Nagamo. Another reason is that his classmates are not united. One of them has the talent Kiryuin but doesn't work hard at all. At the same time, the other party is a guy who is completely uncontrollable and has no interest in the interests of the class. On the third day on the uninhabited island, I gave up and wanted to go back to the ship to enjoy it. The class will directly deduct 30 points at that time. And in the sports festival, he refused to play because he was too good and would be bullying others if he participated. If the class can obtain points, it will not be able to obtain points, and it will not be necessary to stop the class. So desperate. There were no outstanding students among the other students, and a few outstanding ones were dismissed by Nanyun as a threat. Therefore, it is impossible to rely on the class and then strive for a position in Class A. But this time Nanyun gave him hope. As long as he can get 10 million from Nanyun, and he has accumulated more than 2 million in the past 2 years, plus the 2 million gathered by the students in this exam class, they want to bribe him and put it in his hands. So he will get 14 million. When he was about to graduate, Nanyun also said that he would consider cashing out the 3 stores he opened and giving the money to all students. As for the milk tea shop, he can probably get 1 million to 2 million. By then, even if he borrows a few more points from Naeun, he will be able to collect 20 million points. You can go to Class A. Tongshin's family background is very ordinary. Although his academic ability is not bad, he can pass the written examination to get into the university he wants. But he believes that if he gets the recommendation letter from the school's Class A, he can earn back the 20 million very quickly in the future. So Kiriyama-senpai, who always seems to be just a turtle man, also has his own ideas. And now is the closest place to that future. He didn't want to stop right here. And there is actually a solution that allows both of us to get a satisfactory response. Kiriyama-senpai continued to work hard to get promoted to A, that is, Oreki-san, you can team up with Takahiraji. The school allows students to form teams before the exam starts, but they are formed into small teams to cooperate with each other. When we got to the island, we formed a large group. You need to obtain rewards for the subject, and there is a special thing about the large group, that is, After forming a large group, the scores of the group members will be equally divided. In other words, no matter whether Oreki-senpai's score is less than 60 points or 11 points, he can share the high points of Kojinji by forming a team with Kojinji. As for betting on this side, Oreki-san and the others are betting on Kojinji. But Nagamo's bets were all on Oreki Houtarou. So as long as Kojinji and Oreki Houtarou form a large group and tie for first place, everyone can get the results they want. So, Tongshan. Naeun realized that Tongshan had come up with a good idea. However, this is probably Kiriyama's own ambition. It's wrong for some reason. This guy Kiriyama is actually so utilitarian. But Naeun is a little more awake. Because if Oreki Houtarou fails, let alone the top 3, I'm afraid he won't even be able to get 10,000 points by then. Then all the 18 hitchhiking prop cards on his side were wasted. Not only did he get nothing in this exam, but he also owed an IOU of 11 million to Houtarou Oreki for nothing. It was simply a loss of blood. And because these prop cards were taken away from the students during the exam, and there was no benefit from this exam. So you may be complained about. For it. The consequences are indeed disgusting. I will pay another 2 million, Nanyun said. As for Oreki, you negotiated with Kogendera to form a team. Someone saw that he received the reward for forming a large team in the project. Oreki. Junior Oreki did not speak. You know, if I can't get points in this exam, then your 11 million won't be able to be cashed in. My student ID card only has 100,000 points for living expenses, Nanyun said. So you don't know when your 11 million will be paid back. But Nagamo-senpai, what you wrote to me is probably an IOU, Oreki said. It doesn't say that you must get the fruits of this exam before you can cash it in. In other words, it was rejected again. At that time, Nagamo was trying to appease Houtarou Oreki. He was worried that when dealing with Class B, Oreki, a B person, would get involved again. He didn't want to be stabbed in the back, so he deliberately relaxed the conditions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 556. As a result, now he has shot himself in the foot. Then what do you want to do? Nanyun said. It's very simple. Oreki-san put his hands on his elbows. At this moment, he realized that sometimes money can be made from poor information. Because if it was Nagamo-senpai and the others who took one more look at the data information on the tablet, they wouldn't need such a humble request now. It's just like this time's exam, since the marks have been put on people's faces, and Nagamo-senpai came to exploit him personally and then ignored him, it would be really rude. Nagamo-senpai has a total of 3 stores, right? Oreki-san said. And I remember that I wanted to open a store not long after I entered school, but Nagamo-senpai asked me for 4 million in royalties for opening a store. I still remember this incident, Oreki-san said. In other words, do you want the permission to open a store? Indeed. Oreki Houtarou is very rich now, so it is normal for him to open several stores. But Nanyun didn't think the other party would be so cheap. Naeun deliberately said in a serious direction, what do you want to do? Don't you want to take away all the assets of the 3rd grade from me? You want to take away our store? Don't say such outrageous things, Oreki-san said. I'm just making a deal with you. I'm very interested in opening a store, but Nagamo-senpai won't give up the authority to open a store, and I'm not good at the various procedures of opening a store, so it would be great if I can get a completed store. Nanyun. Day. He just deliberately emphasized the importance of his bargaining chip, but in the end, Oreki Houtarou, really wanted to open his shop. Senior Nagaun is silent now. and if you want to defeat Junji, you can only rely on me. Junior Oreki continued. And if you get a high score, then I can also divide the score equally by forming a team. By then, Nagamo-senpai, all your ambitions will be in vain. Nanyun. Indeed. Even if he deceives Oreki into scoring desperately, but if he deliberately teams up with someone with low scores at the end, his ranking will still fall. Therefore, Oreki can only be willing to obtain high scores. You, Oreki-senpai, are very bad. Now Nagayunya needs to think carefully. That is whether it is feasible to mortgage the store to Houtarou Oreki. He now owns a total of 3 stores. When it comes time to graduate, the store has 2 options. One is to sell it all and directly withdraw funds. But there is another option. That is, the store does not sell and continues to generate profits every month. Pay some points and reach an agreement with the school's board of directors. As long as the store still exists, the subsequent profits can be transferred to them outside the school. So it's like a golden chicken that places orders. And that's what he thought too. You can trick the 3rd graders into thinking that all the stores have been sold, so you can give them the points. But he wanted to keep a store for his future. This is why we opened 3 stores. You can sell 2 homes and keep 1 home. This year's first-year students look very fierce, so if they deliberately let the first-year students know about the store, they might be able to sell 1 or 2 store opening rights. Get some funds back. Therefore, if Nagayun wants money, he still has a chance to get it. So what if we don't give up the store this time? If you bet on Oreki Houtarou and the opponent wins first place, then 18 ride cards and additional cards can bring a total of 18x 212 equal 38.16 million. Among them, 11 million was given to Oreki Houtarou, no, 12 million, and 1 million was used to buy him 10 minutes. And Tongshin's 10 million. As for other 3rd-year students, they can usually get a score of 5 million. So he can get 11.6 million. Not much in comparison. But the original milk tea shop cost 13 million to open. Now it can generate profits of 800,000 minus 1 million yuan per month. By the time he graduates from the 3rd grade, he can still generate an income of 6 to 7 million yuan. But these were used to pay off the debts of the 2nd and 3rd stores. So these are some things to think about. Moreover, Oreki Houtarou is so frightened that he has already targeted the store. And if you escape this time, what about next time? The other party's girlfriend is the student council president, and the current principal Yu Cheng is very weird. If it's for 2nd graders, then don't involve 3rd graders. Therefore, the right time, place, and people are not with him. Nanyun felt that it was not safe. You want a store, Naeun said. Then exchange the 11 million IOU and the 1 million that bought you 10 minutes. And I want to get first place in this exam. Naeun took a step back and said. Nagayun-senpai opened a milk tea shop for around 13 million, Oreki said. So now you want my 12 million IOU, don't you think it's a bit too much? We will graduate in about 9 months, but you still have a longer time to stay in school, Nagayun said. So this milk tea shop is more valuable to you. And if you want to open a shop, you definitely don't want to give me 4 million yuan to use it. In other words, Nagamo has also thought about it. Oreki-san thought about it for a moment, and there seemed to be no problem in picking up a store for nothing. There is no need to pay for permission to open a store, no relevant knowledge is required, and even the staff inside are ready-made. So for Sakayanagi, it will be more reassuring. Think so? Junior Oreki nodded with some difficulty. So Nagamo-senpai was worried that the other party would go back on his word, so he quickly wrote a contract with Oreki-san. Oreki-san turned his back to them, and soon took out his tablet, showing that he had formed a team with Kojinji Rokusuke. Although I saw Kojinji-san abstaining, as long as Oreki is still there will be no problem in getting first place. Then I picked up a store for nothing. Itayanaga-san was waiting for Oreki-san to come back and was informed of this. What kind of philanthropic boy is Nagamo-senpai? Chapter 257. Sorry, I came at the wrong time. Senior Nanyun is indeed a qualified boy who is good at making money. Oreki-san has always thought that Ryuan-san is a nice person and quite likable. But now, this one likes to change people. And so Nagamo has 18 hitchhiking cards in his hand, so he has arranged for additional cards. After Oreki-san returned to his original place, the little princess with straight silver hair beside him said, "He can probably get a reward of about 38 million yuan." Oreki-san realized that she was interested, so he introduced. Based on Kiriyama-senpai's initiative, Naun has prepared at least 10 million points for him. While on the ship, a senior named Ajihara from Class B of the 3rd grade rebelled on the spot. At that time, Kiriyama was also turned into a traitor by his classmates. So it was definitely not just Nagamo Hwabing who made Kiriyama-senpai choose to betray, but it was also possible that Kiriyama was given a share. Therefore, Oreki-san's proposed share of around 10 million should be reasonable. Then we will spend about 10 million, and then distribute part of it to the 3rd graders. Then I offset it with the IOU from the store and you, so Nagamo-senpai can still have about 20 million in savings, Kosake Anaga said. Looks good. Doesn't it look good? The milk tea shop obtained from Nanyun can be regarded as an investment or fixed asset, and he has given you such a thing, and you are still staring at the 20 million in the hands of Senior Nanyun. In other words, Banliu, you love money too much. Oreki-san thought to himself. The next day, 6 o'clock in the morning. Oreki-san started to set off. According to the rules of the exam, there are only 2 ways to score points every day: basic moves and topics. The designated area for basic movement appears 4 times a day, the first 3 times are regular, and the last time is random. Once it reaches the 2nd day, the pattern will continue, and the last designated area of the previous day will be used as the basis, and then a new designated area may be refreshed within the range of 2 squares in front, back, left, and right of this area, and 1 square. The 4 designated area spawns and deadlines are 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Oreki-san arrived at the first designated area today. The teacher in charge of the designated area today is an acquaintance, Hashinomi Yachiet. The other person still looks cute, with slightly curly hair and a light and airy look. Then there seemed to be a rather cute smile on his face. Only. Perhaps it was because he had darkened in front of Oreki-san before, but Hashinomi Ya-sensei seemed much colder today. Beep. Your score account will receive a base score of 1 point. Your account credit team will be awarded 10 points for reaching the first place. Hashinomi Yachie gave Oreki the tablet and started scanning the code. But Oreki-san didn't leave immediately. He now carries items that can help him survive outside, so he doesn't have to go back to the stronghold like before. This is a stopgap measure. His speed is very fast, but it is already the 7th day of the exam, and the 3 basic movements of the designated area every day are regular. Students may not understand it at first, but after experiencing it a few times, they will become familiar with it. So if you don't stay nearby, it may capsize. And his goal is to temporarily obtain all basic movement points and tasks as much as possible, and he cannot return to the material stronghold D6 for the time being. Isn't this Oreki-san from Class A? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 557. And because he stayed, some students also arrived one after another. Among them were students of the same grade, as well as first-year students and 2 third-year students who were specially arranged by Nagayunya to confirm the situation. The reason why I say this is that the 2 third-year students did not take out their tablets to scan the code for Hashinomi Yachie to score points. In other words, they are not from this route. "Hello," Oreki-san said. The person who greeted him was a second-year Class D student. "It's Chi Kwanji. He was in a group with Ayanokaji. It seems like yesterday, Yukimura, a second-year Class D student, chose to abstain. He is the top student in Class D, but his physical fitness is extremely poor. Because I was in a group with Ayanokaji and Ike Kanji, I was always lagging behind, so I chose to quit. I hope Ayanokaji, Ike, and the others will continue to work hard." "What a pity. We are the fourth group here." Chi Kwanzi was not in a good mood. Because the third place in the group had already scored points, now even if Yukimura, who is in poor physical condition, is not here, they are still a little late. Didn't get any bonus points from the group. Oreki-san understands that this is what Ike-san is trying to do after Yukimura-san abstains. "In other words, I want to express myself, so why is it so urgent?" "Because I often study with hot girls." No, they came to Oreki-san for tutoring, and they would mention the lessons taught by Kojinji before, and the students in the class at that time refused Kojinji's tutoring. Later, he hoped to pester Juyuan Temple to make up lessons. And how could the arrogant Juyuanji classmates accept these people? One of these people is Chi Kwanzi. In other words, Ike Kanji-san is not a very hard-working person. So it is indeed a bit strange that he is working so hard now. Name: Ike Kanji. Academic ability, D. Intelligence, D+. Class contribution, D. Athleticism, E. The final evaluation was 39 points. And this is his OAA evaluation. It's indeed quite dangerous. And the athletic talent is also E, like Sakura-san. Oreki-san thought of Sakura Eri. Sakura-san's physical fitness is also very bad, and if she had not chosen to take extra lessons from Takahiraji, then the current situation would have been dangerous on purpose. Therefore, Sakura-san chose the right path. It was obviously a boy talking to him, but Oreki-san was only thinking about girls. "By the way, Oreki-san, which area are you planning to go to next?" Ike Kanji continued. "Can we follow you?" "Oh. Ask about his move." "Their schedule is the same, and if they move together, it's possible to score through him." "But..." Oreki-san noticed that Ayanokaji-san on the side looked expressionless and had a low sense of presence. However, he seemed to be looking in one direction. In that direction was Hashinomi Yachiat. She was holding a score scanner and scanning the tablet in the hand of a blonde-haired girl. "Beep, 1 point has been credited to your score account." The tablet made a sound. "That's Nanae-senpai," Chi Kwanji said. 2 of her 3 teammates ran away, and 1 gave up. She looked very pitiful, but she has been working with us for 2 days. She is a good person. Thanks to her, I plucked up the courage. And Chi Kwanzi seemed to be working up his courage. "I want to confess my love to Shin Ohara." What's the point in being a student if you don't have a vigorous love affair? It's too lame. In other words, is he trying to score points in order to get the result of confessing his love to the girl? Indeed. At this age, the most likely thing that can give people upward momentum is falling in love. Even the best Oreki-san is not exempt from the vulgarity, because he has to make money for Itayanagi. "Beep, 1 point has been credited to your score account. Your account credit team will be rewarded with 5 points for reaching second place. In the designated area, faculty and staff are..." And Chi Kwanzi took out his tablet. I felt satisfied instantly. These days, the most they've ever gotten is a third-place group bonus point once. But as for the subject, the requirements are so high. They followed Oreki-san to the project, which required reading comprehension of 30 articles about bereavement. Seeing this kind of thing made him want to quit. So I waited on the sidelines for Oreki-san and Kushida-san to finish participating in the project. But then, he followed Oreki-san to the designated area. Finally got the points. The points that can be obtained for the subject are only 5.3.1 points, but if it is basic movement, it can get 10.5.3 points. Then there is a basic point of 1 point that will be given upon arrival. So he is more inclined to complete basic movements. And the other side? Not far away. Oreki-san and both of them scored points. Only Nanace may know me, but I have no impression of her at all. That's what Ayanokaji-san said. In other words, Nanace Tsubasa was the one who came to expel him from school. Referring to the information Takuya Yagami revealed when he invited Kushida, Principal Tsukijo did indeed find many first-year students. Among them, Hokwon dropped out of school, but Nanace Tsubasa, who was in the same class as Hokwon, did not drop out. And this means, in other words, I hope Oreki-san can get Nanace-san away. The time came at night. 5:30. End of base moves for the day. Everyone stayed at location J3 for the day's camping. This location makes Ji Kwanzi very excited, because this was the stronghold of their class last year. But just as Oreki-san imagined, since the school can sell the materials at twice the price, it won't provide such superior conditions. So, it's different from last year. All the artificially planted fruit trees have been cleared. And vegetables and corn were also processed. However, the fish was not processed. Chi had camping knowledge, so he started preparing dinner. Oreki-san didn't refuse the idea of just waiting to eat, but he also had things to finish. Oreki-san glanced at Nanace-senpai. Apart from him, Ayanokaji's classmate Ike Kanji, and Nanace Tsubasa were camping here. But this schoolgirl looks honest and likable. She was helping with dinner. As a result, Oreki-san temporarily left the area. Came to the G1 area. The distance is not very far, Oreki-san arrived in just 10 minutes. Then I checked the bracelet. It's still far from the appointed time. 10 minutes difference. Houtarou, however, before Kushida-san came, Oreki-san spotted an acquaintance. To be precise, a girl with a golden single ponytail who came out to pick up wood. She also has golden hair, but this girl is much cuter than Nanace-senpai. Because this is the second cutest girl in the 3rd grade. Kuruzawa Megami. Megami Oreki-san greeted her. Did you come here specially to see me? She said. For it. You can't say that he came to Kushida specifically. There are not so many topics released by the school today, only 5. One of them is reading comprehension, which requires 30 articles to be completed. There, Oreki-san met his professional counterpart, Kushida's best friend Miu-or-san. Because only one person can be arranged to participate in a group. So Kushida just watched from the sidelines. And because he was familiar with Kushida, Oreki-san confirmed her mouth shape. Probably hoping that he would arrive in the G1 area at 6 o'clock in the evening. In other words, she must have something to explain. Considering his relationship with Kushida, Oreki-san graciously decided to accept the invitation. After all, in this exam, Amasawa's schoolmate also participated, and Kushida-san is very keen on Azawa, so maybe he encountered some trouble. As a result, Kushida-san hasn't come yet, but he has met someone unexpected. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 558. Just going out for a walk, Oreki-san said. Get familiar with the terrain. I'm camping with the students in your class over in the G1 area. This is a half-truth. That's right, but Kuruzawa didn't seem to doubt anything else. Then can I have a hug? For it. Want a hug? Oreki-san is not as stupid as Horikita-san. In other words, Kuruzawa-san wants to supplement Oreki Houtarou's energy. But Oreki-san has also experienced the shadow of hugging a girl and being taken away by a policeman. This was made by Sakae Inaga-san himself. So here in Kuruzawa. Oreki-san asked her to put down the firewood she had picked up, then opened her hands and hugged her. "I feel like I'm satisfied," Hui said. "So cute, this girl." Oreki-san thought to himself. So, after letting her go, he helped her pick up some wood. But when asked if she wanted to help send him back, she refused and told him not to come near. In other words, Sato-san actually formed a team with her. He couldn't understand the relationship between Hashinomi Yachiya and Chibashira before, and now he doesn't quite understand the relationship between Sato and Kuruzawa. The relationship between Horikita and Kushida also needs to be considered. "Why are you so slow?" But when he returned to his original position, he found a girl with straight blonde hair speaking. Although she was on a small island, she was still neatly dressed, fair and tender. He is a very face-conscious person. "This is Kushida-san." She was obviously late, but she complained first. "Did you meet another girl?" However, when Oreki-san approached, Kushida-san said directly. "You are so busy." "That's it? But why did you directly enter Kuro Kushida's state?" The person who appeared in front of Oreki-san at this moment was not a simple and cute little angel, but the black Kushida-san whose eyes were lowered and his smile had disappeared. "Has the pressure increased dramatically in the past few days on the island?" Then, Oreki-san came to Kushida-san. "I also understood the reason why she turned black. P.S. Bow, it's the end of the month and if you still have a blade in your hand, please help me. This chapter has not been approved. The content of this chapter has not been approved." Chapter 258. Some people hope that Sakuta and Futaba can't be friends. Kushida Kikyo, everyone's recognized little angel. But Oreki knew very well that this little angel was not innocent. Although she appears as someone who helps others and everyone likes her, it is not that simple to win the favor of others. She needs to act like she cares about and helps others. And these are not the biggest pressure. The biggest pressure is that others believe in you and then tell you some secrets that cannot be told to others, and this is a reward for Kushida. It is the expression of entering into other people's hearts. But it's also pressure. Since there are many things that cannot be told to others, should we tell her everything? She also has limits. Therefore, she is often stressed out. And now, 6 days have passed on the uninhabited island. Presumably, it's another time when the pressure is skyrocketing. "Then come here," Oreki-san waved to Kushida. Kushida-san experienced increased stress when she was on the uninhabited island last year, but Oreki-san provided her with a natural place to vent. That is the caretaker's hut on the uninhabited island. There are wooden stakes for exercise outside the cabin, which are just perfect for her to let off steam. Although some artificially grown fruits and vegetables were damaged, the administrator's cabin is not much different from last year. You need to go down the steps on the edge of the central tower. Probably because of the exam, the staff responsible for taking care of the island was still not there, and this was the right time and place. Oreki-san took out his tablet to check and said to Kushida, who was kicking a stake and cursing. "If you are coming alone and are worried about being witnessed by someone, you can ask Horikita to come over," Oreki said. Horikita-san already knows about Kushida's personality and even his dark history, so it's okay to ask Horikita-san to help look after him. "But even if I can't find her," Kushida-san replied, "even if I find her, I won't be able to get emotional." In other words, you still included scolding Horikita as a way to ease your mood. "So, has Amasawa Ichika contacted you again?" Oreki-san said. "That's not true. It's better to say that I searched the tablet yesterday when it opened the GPS and scores. The GPS location of Ichika Amasawa cannot be found. If you can't check it, it means you have already given up." It's really reassuring, probably because his mood calmed down a little. Kushida-san became cute. No. But Oreki-san had a different opinion when he took out his tablet. "Do you want to use 10 material points for score query?" Note, the duration of this query is 3 minutes, and only the top 10 and bottom 10 information of the owner will be displayed. As Oreki-san touched the screen, the ranking of the top 11 students' scores appeared on the tablet interface. First place, Oreki Houtarou, 342 points. Takahiraji, a member of the large group, has abstained. Second place Amasawa Ichika, NPC in the same class, group member passerby NPC has abstained, 301 points. Third place, Haru Sakurako, Utsunomi Yariku, 2 passerby NPCs, 299 points, group members 2 passerby NPCs have abstained. No 4. The 11th place, Nanyunya, the same class NPC has abstained, 224 points. Judging from the list, Tian's junior schoolmate is still online. So, Kushida-san, you are probably too happy because Ichika Amasawa hasn't quit the exam yet. As a rule, GPS positioning is based on the bracelets worn by students. If you give up and need to return the bracelet to the school, the location will be turned off. But don't forget, Teacher Majima also said when he announced the rules that the bracelets are used to monitor the student's physical condition and positioning, and they are not allowed to be taken off. However, it allows you to go to area D6 of the material base when the bracelet malfunctions. Therefore, the tablet shows that the score of Tian's senior student is still there, but the bracelet cannot be located. Maybe it is just a simple bracelet failure. But is it really just a problem with the bracelet? The conversation between Ike Kanji and Ayanokaji flashed through Oreki-san's mind. That's Nana's senpai. 2 of her 3 teammates ran away, and 1 gave up. She looked so pitiful, but she's been with us for 2 days. She's a nice person. Thanks to her, I mustered up the courage by chi. Nanace may know me, but I have no impression of her at all by Ayanokaji-san. Nanace senpai also acted with Hokwon in the past, and was a chess piece given directly by Tsukijo to be eaten. And if Nanace senpai came out in the open, then she was probably trying to hide the person who was going to take action secretly. Therefore, there is a high probability that Bai Fangshen will take action when he is on an uninhabited island. And Ichika Amasawa said before that she did not want to drop out of Ayanokaji. Then there's something wrong with her bracelet and it needs a little attention. So, about half an hour later, Kushida finished venting and took a shower. According to her words, generally speaking, it is difficult to take a bath easily in the wild. Like lakes and sea water, there is no way you can go in there shirtless like a boy. But there are basic movements every day. Although I don't say that I participate in all of them, if I keep moving, I will definitely sweat. And then if there's a smell it's also bad. After all, she is a cute girl who cares about these things. But now it's time for Ryuan's class to appear. Oreki's idea for them was to collect all the material points they could and then cash them in on the ship. All become materials. After getting it on the island, you can sell it to students and let them write EIS back to school to cash in. But that's only part of it. What should I do if some people just don't want to buy it? But the points from these people can definitely be obtained. That's the life measure. In the previous exam on the island, each class was given 300 basic points to exchange for supplies, but some supplies must be obtained. Such as bathing facilities, such as toilets. We are all human and have needs. You can charge money for both toilets and shower rooms. And girls who pay attention to their appearance sometimes even hope to take 2 showers a day. So the income from this part is quite considerable. Of course, Oreki-san is very tolerant of this part of the points. He has no ambitions and just allows the girls he cares about to use them for free. Oreki-san sat on the chair and Kushida-san sat on her lap. There is a light fragrance after bathing. It seems that the neck has not been completely dried, but there are a few tiny drops of water on it. For Oreki-san, this feeling is not bad. Kushida also explained a recent point that displeased her. Ike Kanji in my class is interested in Shin Ohara, the hot girl with short hair who usually works with Kurosawa and the others. And Shin Ohara probably noticed it, but she was pursued by Komiya from Ryuan's class, so she was wavering. But this time she did not act with Kurosawa and the others, but teamed up with Komiya and Kinoshita. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 559. Oh. Shinohara-san. Of course Oreki-san knew that when he first entered school, Kurosawa hugged him and was witnessed by Shinohara-san. Then. Kushida-san, what do you want to do? Although Shinohara-san is not good looking, does it have anything to do with you how other people's relationships develop? She already told me her secret, Kushida said. Although listening to other people's inner thoughts is very pleasant and makes me feel happy. But it can also cause a lot of trouble. Because you have gained the other party's trust, you are more likely to be told more things by the other party. So once she falls in love, all kinds of love affairs will happen, and these are very annoying. For example, the people you are dating quarrel, and then the woman expresses that she wants to break up. If you persuade her to break up, she will tell the man that you advised her to break up when she gets back together. So he will be the one taking the blame. And if you persuade her not to break up, she will feel that you care about her. It's really annoying, Kushida-san finally commented. Is it? It's really troublesome to look at it this way. Oreki-san doesn't have many friends, but if it's really troublesome for a friend to fall in love, then it's really best that the other person is single. Only. Instead of talking about this, it's time for you to wake up, Oreki-san said. What you want to gain is a sense of superiority, so have you considered getting a real friend? Similar to Houtarou, when she receives a call from a friend, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, she will risk her own safety to come find you. Isn't this great? Oreki-san said. The Houtarou mentioned here is a character in a light novel that Oreki-san has read. Is the protagonist's friend. Kushida is a little angel. In order to strike up conversations with different people and share common topics, when he first wanted to get close to Oreki-san, he deliberately borrowed the books he had read. So she should also be involved in all aspects of knowledge. Then of course he knew Houtarou, and also knew that the other party was born from a pig-headed boy and would never meet a bunny girl. Among the supporting characters, Ryo Futaba, the protagonist's best friend, gives people a very good sense. It can be said that only Futaba is enough to be a lifelong friend. And the satisfaction of getting a double leaf can also make people feel fulfilled. So. No, Kushida seemed to hesitate for a moment, but then shook his head. How can such true friends exist? Kushida said. And I don't believe the friendship between men and women is real. 2. Oreki-san nodded. Because he also noticed that Hikari had Futaba and Sakuta's notebooks. Not just one book. 2 of them are of very high quality. It shows that there are still many people who hope that the friendship between these 2 people will deteriorate. So, probably feeling better, Oreki-san took Kushida-san and left here. Oreki-senpai, you are back. Thank you for collecting so much firewood. Oreki-san returned to the temporary camp, and another schoolgirl with long blonde hair greeted him. This is Nane Tsubasa. Oreki and Kushida separated, but they had to think about what they were doing after being out for nearly an hour, so they disguised themselves. So facing such a sincere look from a schoolgirl, even Oreki-san felt a little ashamed. Nane-senpai seems to be an honest person. But he was sacrificed by Mr. Yu Cheng from the beginning. It makes people feel some sympathy. Dinner is the fish caught by Ike Kanji. Oreki-san, on the other hand, brought dried meat and some water, so he shared it and received good reviews. Although you can choose to return to the material stronghold in the D6 area to exchange the materials, the school sells them too expensive. Although Long Yuan is cheap, you need to go back to the school to cash in the IOU. But for students in Class D, even if they write an IOU, they can't cash it. So I won't add insult to injury. Speaking of it, Nane-san asked casually. Are the seniors happy in this school? Eh? Are you happy? Classmate Chi seemed to hesitate for a moment. For the students in Class D, this school is very cruel, they are all lower class. But it is undeniable that there are also excellent places. With free tuition and living expenses if you work hard, other schools outside can't catch up. But obviously, Nanace didn't care about Kai's senses. What about Ayanokaji-senpai? Nanace-senpai continued to ask. Ayanokaji. Well enough. Are you okay? But when he replied like this, Oreki-san noticed that Nanace-senpai seemed to be forcibly controlling her emotions. Because at that moment, what surged up in her was hate. And Oreki-san also understood the meaning of Ayanokaji's previous words. I want to take away this dangerous Nanace schoolgirl. He sensed that this schoolgirl had bad intentions. And now, after dinner, it was getting dark. Everyone washed their hands and prepared to rest on the spot. Then one person needs to be left to light a fire and keep vigil. Nanace-senpai is preparing to keep vigil alone. Although the uninhabited island here is an artificial island, it seems to have fish and other species living there. For example, snakes. Although it is not poisonous, a bite can be quite unpleasant. And her statement was quite considerate. She was teaming up with her teammates, but now her teammates are not here, so even if she moves by herself, she can only get 1 point. Although it sounds reasonable, all the boys present have no shame in letting a schoolgirl do such a thing. At the same time. Wait a minute, Oreki-san said. Did you hear anything? Oreki-san said. Huh, X2. But Chi and Tsubasa tilted their heads. It's a sound similar to an alarm, Ayanokaji said. Yeah, Oreki-san nodded. And this sound is similar to the sound of the siren played by Mashima-sensei on the ship. Does that mean someone was killed nearby? Nanace-senpai suddenly stood up. And there were multiple alarms, so the bracelets of not one but 2 people sounded the alarm, Oreki added. Well, Oreki-senpai, is there something on my face? Nanace-senpai said. She noticed that Oreki-san was looking at her. Oreki-san. Nothing. I checked Tian's location in the evening, but couldn't find it. At that time, Oreki-san also inquired about the location of Takia Yagami, the junior student who wanted to meet Kushida. Yagami Takia's GPS exists. But when Tsubasa wanted to stay vigil just now, he checked Yagami Takia's GPS. But this time the GPS signal of the Yashin disciple also disappeared. So, is it really such a coincidence? Or, instead of choosing to be upright, do you want to use this method? Chief of the White Room. Chapter 259 Chief White House, are you playing games? Mr. Mashima said that the bracelets were specially prepared to detect the student's health indicators. It also has a positioning function so that rescue can arrive in time. During the exam on the uninhabited island last year, I wore this kind of bracelet. But almost no one heard the sirens. After all, this is an uninhabited island, and everyone is a student, so the school will not let students get hurt easily. Therefore, the alarm sound only sounded for a few seconds on the ship when Mr. Mashima gave an example. Oreki-san's memory is very good, and his hearing has also improved due to his strengthened physique. It can be confirmed that the urgent sound of beeping that appears now is the sound played when Mr. Mashima demonstrated a few days ago. And the sirens are plural. This eliminates the possibility of 2 bracelets failing at the same time. In other words, Something really happened. So when Oreki-san mentioned it, Nanae-senpai, Kanji and Ayanokaji who were present immediately set off. It's evening now and there are no exams. But the people on this island are all students from the same school, and the students in crisis now may even be classmates or people they know. Whether it is for public or private use, you should go and see it. Only. Flashlight, flashlight. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 560. Chi Kwanzi has experience in wild camping. It is already nighttime, the surrounding visible light is very low, and due to bad luck, the moon is also covered by dark clouds. So now looking outside, visibility is very low. But when he hurriedly found the flashlight, he found that his companions had disappeared. Hey, don't run so fast. It's easy to get lost or run into danger in the dark. Although this is an artificial island, there is no such fatal danger, but there are still some non-venomous snakes. At the same time, the ground is also a mountainous road, and some places are very slippery, so traveling quickly in the dark may indeed cause problems. It's just that classmate Chi is just an ordinary person, and he doesn't know that his teammates are basically idiots. Ayanokaji-senpai is very fast. Have you received any training? Nanae Tsubasa asked. Although she didn't go to get a flashlight, Ayanokaji-san brought a tablet. He opened the tablet and used its dim light to view the terrain. And Tsubasa also followed him. Although it is to save people, it is very dangerous to go alone under such circumstances, so grouping together is the best solution. I think it's useless for you to stare at me, Ayanokaji-senpai said. You should see Oreki-san. Nanae. It's because she can't keep up with Oreki-senpai that she can only talk to you. It's just that Oreki-senpai's speed is a little too fast. Because for just a moment, I felt that the other party had rushed out. When I paid attention again, I found that the other party had disappeared. He's in front, but at this moment, Senior Ayanokaji suddenly said. And Nanae Tsubasa quickly looked over. With the moonlight, I could vaguely see 3 people appearing in front of me. It's just that one is standing and 2 are lying down. A little further forward, it was confirmed that the standing figure was Oreki-senpai. And lying there were a man and a woman. Tsubasa-senpai may not be familiar with her, but Oreki-san knows her. The people lying down were students in Long Yuan class, and they were all acquaintances. One is Komayayama who often follows Ishizaki Daiichi, and the other was someone who deliberately injured Horikita-san by following Ryuan's orders at the previous sports festival. Kinoshita-san, who was good at sports, was blamed for Horikita-san, but in the end he could not get the reward and was injured in vain. Both of them had their eyes closed and remained motionless. It seems that he just fainted, Oreki-san said to Tsubasa and Ayanokaji who arrived. He had just checked the status of the 2 of them. That's really shocking, said Tsubasa. She is an honest and kind person. Only. Who? Probably because she suddenly discovered the aura of others, Nanae-senpai immediately rushed in one direction. Oreki-san and Ayanokaji stayed at the scene. The 2 looked at Tsubasa's back and looked at each other. No words were spoken. Ayanokaji squatted down, touched Komiya's body with his hands, and then found Komiya's tablet. It's a pity that the screen of Xiaomiya's tablet is broken at a corner and cannot be opened. Then Ayanokaji-san looked at Oreki-san like this. Oreki. He knew that Ayanokaji-san wanted to confirm the number of Komiya's teammates by getting Komiya's tablet. Because now 2 students from Ryuan's class were attacked. Maybe there's a team of 2 or there's a 3rd student. It's just that the team formation information can only be viewed at the beginning by students who have prop cards and can choose to place bets. It is invisible to other students. Therefore, only the teammate's tablet can confirm the teammate's information. But now there is something wrong with Komiya's tablet, so she can only search for Kinoshita-san's. It's just that Kinoshita-san is a girl, so it's definitely not easy for her to touch her body. That's why Ayanokaji-san looked at Oreki-san. Do you want him to touch it? But Oreki-san does not need to confirm this grouping. Because he had long known from Kushida-san's complaints that Shinohara-san had entered puberty. Then he swung between Chi Kwanji and Xiaomiya from Class C. So now that Xiaomiya is here, then I think it's better for you to come out on your own, Oreki-san said. The third person at the scene is Shinohara-san. Is Shinohara here? Ayanokaji frowned slightly. This is the initial location where Komayayama and Kinoshita were discovered, Oreki said. And don't you think their location is a bit concerning? Do you care? Ayanokaji noticed that the terrain where Oreki was now was slightly higher. I see. Komayayama and Kinoshita may have come to look out for others. Then he was probably trying to look out for his companions and then was attacked. But compared to this, what Ayanokaji cares about is that Oreki-san's speed and night walking ability are a bit too much. Even after being trained by the White House, he didn't keep up. Although he had considered that there was Nanae-senpai around him before, he had also thought about whether the other party would take advantage of this opportunity to attack him. But none. This schoolgirl seems to be an honest person, and her first concern is whether the person was killed. This is so reassuring. After all, he doesn't want to be violent all the time. Yes. As a student of Baifang, he actually didn't care about the affairs of Komayayama and Kinoshita. There are too many people who fall down due to physical discomfort or problems of one kind or another, and he is very used to it. Because of the presence of Nanae-senpai, he couldn't reach full speed and keep up with Houtarou Oreki. What if we really act together with the other party without any worries? What will it become? Can he keep up with each other? So what arises at this moment is actually a trace of determination. But this competitive spirit quickly disappeared. Because may lose. This answer also bothers him. His failure represents that man's failure. He wants to see that man fail, but he doesn't want to lose. What a troubling emotion. Ayanokaji-san has begun to lose focus. I'm out, no, don't hurt me. However, at this time, a timid voice finally came over. From the grass not far away, a girl with short hair walked out. Wears sportswear. But there was a look of horror on his face. And this girl is Shinohara-san from Class D, 2nd grade. The hot girl who has a good relationship with Kuruzawa. According to Megami's comments sometimes, Shinohara-san has a very strong character, but now, she seems pitiful. Don't attack me, she said nervously. And isn't this statement just self-inflicted? Calm down first, Oreki-san said. The lives of Komayayama and Kinoshita are not in danger, but because the alarm has been activated, faculty and staff will probably come to the rescue in a while. So they should be disqualified from taking the exam. Shinohara teamed up with them, so if Shinohara also abstains now, that's the end of the group. It seemed that this made Shinohara-san calm down. She finally tried to control her emotions. Then he told the story intermittently. The location of the tent camp today is relatively remote, so we didn't go to Longyuan to prepare a stronghold. Then I went out to pick flowers, and Komayayama and Kinoshita helped me look out. I couldn't see clearly. I just swiped and found that the voices of Komayayama and Kinoshita disappeared. No, very scary. In other words, the people who attacked Kinoshita and the others were very fast. It's scary. At this time, Oreki-san took out the tablet from his pocket. Start searching. Whether to pay 10 material points to enable GPS positioning, the positioning target is Yagami-takia. Beep, unable to search. Oreki-san. Whether to pay 10 material points to enable GPS positioning, the positioning target is Tian's Yuxia. Beep, unable to search. The information displayed on the tablet is very straightforward. But would you like to pay 10 material points to check the score? Of course. Beep. With the deduction of material points, the ranking of scores appears again.